Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 38, Warrior Wrestling! Woo! Oh, yeah. Tonight with us in the studio, as always, is the master maestro of producing, Sretton the Savage. What's up, Sretton?
I'm full of energy.
He's full of energy drinks, and those things are giving him a heart attack if he don't lay off. And back with us again is local grappler Drex Odell. What's up, Drex?
How's it going?
It's going good, man.
He's also full of energy.
He's full of energy.
I need to crack open my bang.
And our very special guest tonight is a gentleman that goes by the name of Steve. Steve is one of... Is it one of? Can I say you're one of?
I'm one of many things.
One of a few promoters?
Sure.
Are you... what should I call you, the CEO?
Yeah, President, Czar.
Okay. He is
Ringleader.
the czar of Warrior Wrestling.
There we go.
Which has an event coming up on January 5th, which it's called Warrior Wrestling 3, but I like to call it the Stacked as Hell card because it's
Yes.
there is an amazing card. And tonight we want to bust it down for you guys and let you know what's going on as far as the matchups and what Warrior Wrestling is all about, where they've been, where they're going. I always like to throw that Forrest Gump line in, you know what I'm saying? Where they gone, where they been, and all that good stuff. So we want to tap into that right now. Steve, tell the people what we got coming up on January 5th.
Well, hello, people. We have our
What do you mean, people?
third Warrior Wrestling show. We did 2 shows in 2018, one on May 11th, one on September 2. And on the 5th, we think it's going to be the best show we've got so far. We've got an absolutely stacked card.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like anybody in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana that doesn't attend this you're missing out.
Yes.
It's all these guys, for the most part, I think 99.9% of them are on TV.
Yep.
You're going to know who they are. If you know wrestling, you're going to get a jub.
There you go. The goal with all of these shows, and this one especially, is to lay out a show that is so ridiculous. If you are a wrestling fan, there's no way you can't go to this.
Right.
From star power to match quality to different styles and types of wrestling. If you like lucha libre, if you like modern indie style, if you like to see legends, if you like women's wrestling, if you like anything about wrestling, there is something for you on this show. And if there isn't, then we've failed.
Oh, no, I mean, I totally catch the vibe you're throwing out because I'm going to throw this out there. I think the card is a little bit equally stacked as the All-In card was. Like, that's how excited I am about this. I'm gonna put that out there. That's so for you guys out there in the JP Woo that are listening. That's how beefed up it is. This card is on PEDs.
We're trying. That is always the goal. It's to build a show that me and the other guys who make Warrior Wrestling, if this show existed, we would drive to Cleveland. We would drive to St. Louis. We would drive to wherever to see it because it's that damn good. And if we don't hit that, and we do a lot behind the scenes before we announce any matches, and it's not, we have the luxury of being able to put a lot of this together before we promote any of it, and we don't promote any of it until we feel like we've got that combination.
Right.
So,
well, from what I've seen, you guys, your plan has been well executed. It's amazing. I mean, let's run down the list of a few other match cards.
Main event title match: Brian Cage, who's our champion,
the Swolverine, the guy who is absolutely. I am obsessed with Brian Cage, and not to cut you off, but I don't know. You're on Twitter. You guys are on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
The first time I came across this was on Twitter. We're very heavily involved at JP Dub Podcast. You like that? Oh, I know I do. I think it was for Halloween where he dressed up as Bane.
Yeah.
Holy shit. He looks like he just walked out of the comic, from the pages of the comic. And Tom Hardy, who I don't care, all you chicks out there freaking out and drooling over that, you don't know nothing about the Swolverine. He looked just like a legit Bane, dude. He's like, this is how Bane should look, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, holy crap! And he's a huge comic book guy too.
Total nerd.
Yeah.
Who was the wrestler that actually played Bane in the
that was
Batman?
The Ultimate Solution from WCW. That was the guy who had the huge arms. Mm-hmm. They called him the Ultimate Solution or the Final Solution or something like that in WCW. You're testing
passed
my
away a
knowledge.
few
I
years
know
back,
it. No,
I don't
he
know off
did.
the top
He
of my head
did.
either.
It's Jeep Swenson. Jeep Swenson.
He's built like a Jeep.
Hey, hashtag Juice knows. Boo-hoo.
Yep, Jeeps. There you go.
There you go.
Damn,
See,
Juice,
this is why I'm
so
so
good.
impressed when I listen to the podcast. Like, you just got it on.
Yeah, I try. I might
Like
forget.
me
You
and
know,
terrible movie
I'm
quotes.
I'm slugging down a few of these little Coors Originals. You know,
It's the banquet beer.
it's the banquet, and all of a sudden I feel like Sam Elliott's in my left ear. So getting back to what you were saying, Steve, about this card, we got Brian Cage versus Bandito,
Yes.
who is amazing. My first experience with Bandito was at All In,
Okay.
watching him, and I cannot believe what's going to happen.
Yeah, and we think Cage and Bandito match up really well. So Cage, obviously a power guy, but he can move, he can fly,
He
he can.
is the next evolution to me in pro wrestling, like a guy who is giant. He's a Scott Steiner build, but he moves like a Rey Mysterio.
Brian Cage is like what happens in all the Jurassic Park sequels, where they genetically merge different dinosaurs, and they're like, it's a raptor, but a T-Rex, and also a pterodactyl.
Right.
Like, that's Brian Cage.
Yeah.
He has crazy power, crazy charisma. He can do chain wrestling. And at our second show in September, he hits this spot where he hits a plancha on everybody, dives over the ropes, hits the whole pile, rolls off the pile onto his feet, and then walks up the bleachers with his hands in the air.
Oh,
and
it's looking tough as fuck.
Oh my God. I'm sitting next to my right hand man, my buddy Eric, and we just looked at each other and went, that is our champ.
Yeah.
There is nothing that this hybrid mutant man cannot do.
You've literally got me thinking of a brontosaurus doing a standing moonsault right now.
That's what he is.
Yeah. Brian's another guy I've interacted with on social media numerous times, and he's a great dude, man.
Yep.
Great dude.
Nicest human being in the world. So a little behind the curtain story. On our first show in May, Brian was one of the first guys that my buddy Eric, who's like my bouncing ideas right hand man, talent wrangler, everything guy. Eric was doing the pickups at the airports for us with the guys. Brian's the first guy we pick up because he took a red eye in from Southern California, and it was nuts.
Right.
And Brian,
SCU?
yep. And Brian's driving in the car with my buddy Eric, and immediately is just asking Eric all these questions about the show. How's the card laid out? How'd you guys get into this, etc.? And he's just giving him advice and tips and ideas. That day, on that first show in May, I ended up in the locker room talking to Brian for like a half an hour, just giving us advice on show flow and things like that, and what he'd do differently and things to think about. Absolutely no, it doesn't pertain to him whatsoever. He's just there to help, and he's not overbearing. He's not a know-it-all. He's just trying to help us as that
That's
time
great.
first-time promoters.
Yeah.
You guys should consider this. I'd be happy to help with this. The nicest guy in the world. So in addition to being this mutant prototype performer,
Yeah.
and a total nerd and geek and everything, just awesome human being. Awesome human being. And when we had the decision for Warrior 2 after that War of Attrition match, who's going to come out, who's going to be the champ, we very legitimately had the discussion of who do we want to represent us. So obviously we're associated with a school, so we're a charity, so you want somebody who's a clean, upstanding individual to begin
Right.
with. But this is the guy who we were thinking, when he gets interviewed by the newspaper, which he is this week, and when he gets interviewed here and there, he represents everything that we stand for. So can't say enough good things about the guy.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and to me, I hope he stays away from WWE. I mean, financially, I mean, whatever, he can make the money there, but he's doing so much great stuff on his own, and he's going to be one of those guys we're going to be talking about 20 years from now.
Yes.
Like Brian Cage is a freaking machine.
Yep.
I'm a machine. And kudos to Lucha Underground because they're the ones that really propelled him.
Yep.
And gave him that character. I mean, he did do the Impact gut check and all that and had a little bit of exposure there, but Lucha Underground is the reason why he is being booked everywhere like a monster right now.
Yeah.
And Impact Wrestling, and I'm glad that he came to Impact. Dude, I always thought right before the Anthem Sports took over, I was like, man, you know what TNA really needs is like these younger super indie guys that are indie darlings, if you will. And I was always like, man, I was talking to my son, like, what if Pentagon was in Impact or Brian Cage? And then it happened.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden things started to rise up.
Yeah.
Back up.
yeah. But no, I just can't say enough good things about this guy. He gets me super pumped up, and that's why, I mean, I've always been a huge wrestling fan, but especially in the last couple of years, we are in this renaissance and revolution of professional wrestling where now, I mean, we're one of many podcasts. We're probably the best, but, we're one of many. And that to be as excited as I am to come on here like I do weekly and talk about this stuff, and he's one of the reasons straight up why I do it. Because the guy, he makes you feel it, dude. He makes you believe.
Yep. So we were talking offline earlier about music and bands and touring.
Right.
And it's like, if you've got an incredible music scene where you've got bars and clubs, if it's like the Sunset Strip in LA in the 80s, or the punk rock scene in New York in the late 70s, early 80s.
Grunge in Seattle.
Or grunge in Seattle in the 90s.
Yep.
There's so many good talents and so many good places to see those talents.
Yep.
It's kind of like just go to one of the clubs. You're going to see some incredible stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's what indie wrestling is right now.
There's amazing.
So much, and they're all so different, guy to guy, promotion to promotion, as we were talking offline earlier. Different promotions with different flavors. This, if you are not alive and thriving as a wrestling fan right now, then you don't love wrestling.
No.
I mean, this is the time.
I totally agree. It's the return of the territories. It's here. And I am so happy that we are finally living in an era where I can do this show. I don't have to talk about WWE. Now, granted, it's a staple, and from time to time we will, but I don't use that as my main. I don't get how people can do every week, like, we're going to do a Raw review and a SmackDown review. Like, oh, my God. Like
5 hours of any show, any product every single week is really difficult. And then you want to you want to be well-rounded and watch Impact or, Ring of Honor or even New Japan for that matter, or their local scene or the Super Indies.
But it's like
it's difficult.
It is difficult, but there's not enough good things to say about that product. It's like that's why it's amazing to see now, like with all the indies, and even I hate to call like Impact and ROH and those guys like indies. Yeah. I really don't consider them indies. They're promotions. They have major deals. They're doing stuff. They're televised. Yada yada yada. I just think it's great that they are around to help the wrestlers, like we were talking about earlier before. When we're off camera, I want to say off camera. When we were not recording, we were talking about how it's great to have places for guys to go to. We were talking about like when the WCW, ECW buyout, and I was kind of like, telling you guys how I was, oh man, it was heartbreaking because where were guys gonna go? And now that you have that, it's literally a plethora of promotions and everything that these guys can go and make money and not have to go to Vince or Trips and be like and succumb to that creative not freedom, but how would you put that into words? You know what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't have any sort of control over their character. They would get buried, much like we've seen with a lot of good talent in WWE. And that's one of the great things I think going on in professional wrestling now. And it's more like professional wrestling for me. I'm going to use the comparison to like craft beer.
Yes.
Everybody's got a flavor. It's all out there, and it's huge, dude. It's huge right now. And I think professional wrestling in 2018 and beyond is just like craft beer. And it's the talk of the town now. I can't imagine when we were kids, like, or at least for me, it's like you go to school every day and you're like, oh man, did you see what happened on Nitro last night or what the NWO did? Nowadays, it's like they have so much more, dude. And it's like, even to the point where it can be like when we were talking on the phone a couple days ago, it could be a hipster thing.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. As long as there's that sort of thing going on, it goes back to the craft beer thing, man. That's how big wrestling is.
Yeah.
The only downside with all the stuff these days is like, talking about the hipster thing and all that. The only thing that's aggravating for me as a fan and as a wrestler, and I'm sure for you as a promoter as well, is that wrestling fans are almost as bad as Star Wars fans.
They ruin things,
and it's difficult. I mean, you want the product, but you want it the way you want it.
Dude, TNA and Impact's a perfect example. Yeah, fans shit all over that. Even when they were doing good, they just wanted to dog it and dog it and dog it, and they've finally kind of gotten away from that. And I'm so happy because I was a huge TNA guy from the beginning. Went to house shows, pay-per-views, yada yada yada.
Like you were saying, there is a competitor, possible viable.
Yes,
competitor.
And even if not a competitor, an alternative.
Exactly.
And they finally embraced the alternative moniker, and it's working for them. And oh my God, it's just to have something like that now is just pure amazing. And I can't say enough good things about it. But wrestling fans, they they ruin wrestling a lot of the times, man. They want to shit all over everything, and I don't get it.
Well, and we've been talking about Cage and just some of the stuff that popped up on Twitter the last couple of days. He's had to explain himself about.
Oh
something.
yeah,
It's like, come on, man. That guy shouldn't have to explain himself about his views about anything at all.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to get his reaction. He's going to get, like you said, part of the reason why you want to do this podcast is because of guys like him. He's one of the reasons why I got so much back into wrestling myself is like watching him and Michael Elgin in spite of any of the issues he's got going on.
Yep.
Guys like that are the big old school guys who are impressive, athletic, doing things that is new school, but their stuff looks real. It looks good, and that's what I'm a fan of myself. I'm a fan of the old stuff, but
They're bringing wrestling back. Yeah.
But just in general, just making it look like it's not just a fight. It doesn't look choreographed to me whenever I watch this stuff. Cage, I'm looking at your card here you've got coming up, and there's not really anyone on this entire show that I'm looking at that I'm like, it's not believable. No. I'm gonna let you go to the next one here, but I'm just like telling you, looking at everything here, I'm just like, this is great. I love watching every single person that's on this card so far.
Yeah.
So,
and then that's the crazy thing about wrestling right now is this is our third show.
Yeah.
And in our first and second, they were just as stacked. We have access to this many incredible performers.
Yeah.
As nobody. Like literally nobody.
Right.
And it took us in our first show, once we got Del Rio on board and a few other guys, then everybody else said, oh, this is legitimate. All right, we'll start responding to your emails and your texts and tweets. But there are so many guys out there that you can come out of the woodwork, and if you have the platform for them, they will come and they will perform and they will be unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, that's how much of a golden era we're living in.
And I've been saying it for a long time, and even guys like Billy Corgan, who owns the NWA now, has been saying for a good long while, we are in a renaissance, and people need to recognize it and take advantage of it, and buckle your seatbelts, because it's going to be one hell of a ride, man.
Yep.
oh yeah.
When I put Warrior Wrestling together a little over a year ago now, I pitched it to my boss, the president of our school, as a fundraiser for the school.
And what school is that?
Marian Catholic High School in Chicago Heights.
Nice.
And I had a whole PowerPoint presentation, because I'm a nerd, about why this would be a good thing for our school. And several chunks of that were, here's the growth of independent wrestling in the last several years. Because I was trying to convince my boss to spend a pretty penny to believe me that in return, we would make a good deal of money for our school, and it would be a good thing and be a positive. Yep. And so I had broken down trends of ticket sales from Ring of Honor and NEW and other promotions, and the number of former WWE guys that are out there, and these new up-and-comers and Twitter followers and all these things to convince him we are at
a viable commodity.
This is about to hit a boom cycle.
Right.
This thing that is kind of this nerdy thing that the principal happens to also love, he's telling you this thing is going to blow up. And not because I saw it, we all saw it. We saw this groundswell coming because we loved it, and now we're living it. We're living this boom cycle.
Well, and then you also, if you can manage to bring in people who don't normally watch wrestling in general, it's like I grew up watching hockey. And grew up watching the Blackhawks, even though they were never on home games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're playing. They're playing. You see those? Not to cut you off, but you see the jerseys, the sweaters, and everything they're wearing.
I'm going
for Notre Dame.
I'm going to that game.
Oh,
I've got my sweater.
I've
got my sweater, the black and white Caner sweater.
Oh man, too sweet.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
But
it's so tough.
When you take somebody to a live hockey event who doesn't watch hockey, they love it.
Yep,
it's great.
And when you take somebody to a wrestling show that's never been to one, it's like, whoa, hold on a second.
They can critique and say what they want, but once they see something like what you're putting on, Steve, and I guarantee you the talent you have collected for this show is a perfect example of that.
Exactly. So, even if it's just a few kids that are like diving into it, we do a lot smaller shows, and that kind of thing. We don't have the name on our stuff, but even seeing some people come out the first time, and it's like, I didn't even know this was in my backyard.
Yeah.
Chicago Heights is not that far away for most people in Northwest Indiana. It's not. I work over in Illinois. I go through there regularly.
Yeah, I know a lot of people out here are doing the same thing.
People think the negative part. Chicago Heights, where they're at, nice area. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong. But if you don't go to the show and you live locally and you're a huge wrestling fan, like you said earlier, you've got to have a good excuse for that. You have a family function, we get it. But
for sure,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next match.
Sure. So Cage and Bandito is the first one. And real quick on Bandito, obviously just signed with Ring of Honor.
Yep.
had offers from an informal offer from AEW, big offer from WWE.
Yep.
This guy is special.
Oh man, he's great.
Absolutely special.
He is great.
And he's not, I've heard people say, oh, he's a flippy guy. Yes, he does some aerial
He's
stuff.
a spots monkey.
He is not a spots monkey. The guy is just talented.
If the spot
man.
makes sense, then
Yeah.
do
Then
it
there's
by all
nothing
means.
wrong. Yeah.
exactly.
So these two, I think, are going to match up crazy. Power versus power. Obviously, Bandito can fly, but Bandito's a strong dude too,
Yeah,
and a
he
lot of
is.
people don't, unless you've seen him live and
Dude,
seen
and
him.
he's got a build to him
He's
too.
built.
Yeah.
Like he can pick up some bigger boys. So that we thought from just a match, styles make fights, right? We thought this is just going to make a killer main event. This
I
is
love
Pro
it.
Wrestling
I
2018.
love it, dude.
I'm all in on that,
That's
yeah.
great booking. And you kind of you gave me an idea right here, and I want to see if you guys agree with me or not. Do you think Lucha Libre has taken over wrestling in the past couple years?
I think wrestling is so kind of like MMA.
Super hybrid.
When MMA started, you had all these different types of fighters.
Right.
And then now you have this joint MMA style that is MMA. I think pro wrestling's the same thing. I think indie wrestling 2018 is a little lucha libre, a little Japanese strong style, a little WWE story style, some of the old school stuff coming back.
What about that British strong style?
British strong style as well. It's everything. You can't be an MMA fighter right now
Yeah.
without several styles. Same
Right.
thing with an indie wrestler in 2018.
And I think that's a lot of WWE's downfall is they are an outdated product.
Yeah.
The way their show is produced, the way everything is happening. And like it and it's so weird because a company that is publicly traded, that has access to so much money and just media outlet, and they haven't caught on to this yet. I mean, there's hints of it, but like guys who are how you consume, and Billy Corgan said it best.
Yeah.
Wrestling has changed the way we consume professional wrestling. You don't have to, my God, I gotta watch USA on Monday night. No, you don't have to. I can go on YouTube and watch MLW Fusion, or I can go and I just found out tonight that Impact was changing to Pursuit, which
Pursuit TV,
I've never heard of Pursuit myself, but
I'll find it now.
whatever. I mean, but you could go on the Fight app and find all kinds. The way you can consume wrestling has totally changed.
Yeah.
From what WWE standard product was, and there's for some reason they do some stuff outside of that guideline, yes, but it's very nil, and they're running the same show essentially. They've been running for 50-60 years.
It's homogenized. So,
Yeah.
We were talking hockey a minute ago. Hockey is one of my favorite sports. Diehard Blackhawks
hoser.
fan.
Yeah, I was talking to you on the phone. Didn't you just say? Yeah,
I think I just came from a Hawks game. I
Yeah.
was going to a Hawks game.
a win too. They
I
won.
know.
Nice.
Oh, man.
It's
Finally. I was
miss
0 for
Coach Q.
12 before that. I hadn't seen a win since the 16-17 season before Tuesday night in person.
the only game I've gone to so far this season, they did win. I'm a little bit of a good luck charm.
Well,
when
you're
I
the
go,
guy.
But
There you go.
I'm going on Sunday.
Drex.
Well, outside of hockey, my other sport is college football.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I have this analogy for WWE. WWE is the NFL. The Indies are college football. In the NFL, basically 32 teams play the same exact game. I think NFL football is boring as hell.
But look what's happening with the XFL. You have the AA.
Well, now you're getting
and all
alternatives
that.
popping up. But if you watch
Yep.
college football, you're going to see 15 different
Oh, yeah.
offenses. You're
Yep.
going to see West Coast. You're going to see spread. You're going to see all these different
It's
types.
starting to
It's
integrate more into the NFL too.
Yeah.
just like WWE start.
Right.
The Seth Rollins of the world are starting
Yep.
to creep up. But generally, the WWE is meh, whereas the Indies, you see all this different stuff. It's so cool.
And unfortunately, it also comes from a business standpoint. You're talking about a company, you're talking about publicly traded. They're beholden to
They
the
have
shareholders.
standards. Yeah.
They have to meet certain standards so they can
Practices, all
sell
that.
merchandise and so they can sell advertising. The TV
But here's
deal
the
alone
thing, though.
going to Fox.
Here's the thing, and that's when you say to sell stuff. The Young Bucks are the perfect example of that. Selling merchandise, I guarantee you, dude, the Young Bucks sell way more merchandise than a lot of the guys in the WWE. But you got these people, these corporate figureheads that think you need to do something, or well, hey, Oreo Cookies is going to drop their commercials if we don't do this, or if we do this,
And I think this year they just announced that within the last couple weeks, I saw one of the dirt sheets that John Cena, for the first time in like 10 years, is not the number one merchandise seller at WWE.
Nope.
And people always buy Cena merchandise. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like everywhere, every show you go to, there's a bunch
Well,
of
there's a
new
lot
brand
of
t-shirts.
jaded fans now, WWE fans, because they know what's out there on the indies.
They do,
Yes.
but they also try to bring in everything else. And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand that very different products that we've talked about to death. Like in the area, there's a bunch of different products no matter where you go to.
Right.
WWE still caters to the family-friendly kind of thing now.
They are the 80s product, but now they are in a world where, hey, Vince McMahon can't say, well, we're going to go with the attitude. And they can't do that now.
No, they can't.
But they are very much still stuck. You know what I'm saying? They were stuck in that same product they were, but there's no way out of it now, really.
Well, and it comes back to really quality writing and wittiness and creativity.
God,
so I hate
they don't have that.
I push back on the argument of, they're PG.
Bring
so it's
back
not
Freddie
good.
Prinze Jr.
They could swear and bleed; it wouldn't be any better.
I'm with you on that, actually.
Oh, Freddie
Prinze Jr.
He was good.
Have you listened to his
And he's a
interviews
hunk.
about how he coached guys to act?
Dreamboat.
And I think wasn't his grandfather a wrestler as
Yeah.
well?
So- yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like he's got it. Like he's around the
legit.
business a little bit. Like that is
Like
a guy,
Corgan, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy knows his
fan.
shit.
You know, a fan is a fan. Not always what you want to see as a fan is going to make money, and you have to kind of find that balance. And that's what's
right.
really difficult
I know who
when you're
Jeep
talking about
Swenson
TV
is, but I ain't
products.
getting a fucking check for it. You know, hey man, O'Doyle rules.
Exactly.
But yeah, let's getting back into your matchups here.
Sure. So we had Cage Bandito. Second one from the top is, we think, an absolute dream match. Pentagon and Phoenix, Lucha Brothers.
Oh God, yeah. Then that's a huge selling point for me. They are the best tag team. Well, it's hard to say that. Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, LAX. Could you imagine that as a triple threat?
And when they let
and
them
the
have it,
Briscoes,
Dash and Dawson are honestly some of my favorite tag team out there right now. When they let them do what they did in NXT, those two, amazing.
Yeah.
Fists, no flips.
Yeah, hey, fuck the revival. I love when Cody came back on BTE after he came out of that thing where it's like, he was in this weird, he was possessed, and he's like spouting off WWE facts. His eyes were glazed over like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. He's like, 1997, Roddy Piper fought Goldust at WrestleMania. He's like spewing all this shit, you know? And then he finally comes back, and I don't know where I was going with that. I lost. I had it there, but I lost.
I think he came back to FTR, and that's
he did. Yeah, and he comes back, and they're like, because they had Christopher Daniels come out and do like the Exorcist thing and the fallen angel, and he exorcises his demons. He comes out, I was like, is he all right? He's like, go in and check. I think it's all right. And he comes in, and he's just like, they're sitting there with him, and he's sweating. He's like, fuck the revival. I'm like, yes, dude. Great storytelling.
Yes. Oh, BTE is the best story.
The best in the game, dude.
We talked about All In earlier.
Besides Lucha Underground, I love what Lucha does.
But BTE, basically, All In was a 9-month build from a YouTube show.
Yeah, dude.
And every angle paid off perfectly. Those guys, you mentioned earlier, there's such this creative drought in WWE. Those guys are so creative, and they have the freedom to do what they want on their own. That's why they don't go. That's why they turn down the 7-figure deal.
Exactly.
Now, they're also going to make a boatload of money on their own.
Yeah.
But they can do incredible things off on their own.
It's great. It's great to see that, because I'm sorry, man, but WWE is not the be-all, end-all.
No.
It's not.
And it isn't it anymore.
No.
So we got Lucha Brothers, as you said, who are incredible.
Oh, God.
Versus the kind of
The
dream
best.
international team we put together of Matt Sydal.
Yes, I love Matt. So, hey, we got the Ethan Page shirt. I was talking to Ethan, though. I was like, you know what? I think you're a great wrestler. I don't like how they grouped you into the, when you first came in, they did you as the park thing, and he looked at me kind of like, yeah. And I was like, well, then they got you with Matt Sydal, who I like, but I'm like, still, like, why do they have to put you with someone to prove yourself? And he's like, on every word I'm saying, agreeing,
Yeah.
He is all ego, Ethan Page. So
Yeah, dude, let him be it, dude. Let him fucking be it. But going back to the matchup.
Man. So originally we were going to have Page and Sydal versus the Lucha Brothers, and we switched things up a little bit because we booked A-Kid. Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar with A-Kid. For anybody listening who isn't, first of all, what's wrong with you? Second of all, Google the match. Google the match with A-Kid and Ricochet, or A-Kid and Zack Sabre Jr. The Zack Sabre Jr.
And then after that,
match.
watch the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet match.
Oh my God, A-Kid is we're bringing him in from Spain.
Nice.
And very specifically, we wanted A-Kid in the ring with Phoenix. Because literally we said he's been in the ring with Ricochet. He's been in the ring with Sabre. Who else on earth should this guy be in the ring with?
I'm getting goosebumps listening to this. Talk about
the Lucha Brothers want to work as a team all through spring of 19, so they didn't want to break up and do singles. So we're like, all right, one way or another, we are putting A-Kid across the ring from Phoenix. Because again, if you love professional wrestling in 2018, 2019, A-Kid and Phoenix in the same ring. If you are not driving and paying money for that, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that we think is just going to just burn the place down.
Oh, it's going to be one of those moments for sure. It's oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get fucking jacked right now. Yeah. Me and my brother, we're going to go to the show. Yeah. I'm sorry. I love it. It's going to be fucking amazing.
Oh,
dude.
man.
You get me fucking, I'm threatening I'm going to have to chop these fucking walls down.
No.
Jim
Like
Duggan.
the Shredder knocking the pier down at the end of Turtles
Like
2.
Kevin Nash, Super Shredder. I'm sure he gets sick of people asking him, "Oh, were you in Ninja Turtles too?" And he's like, "Fuck off, kid." Yeah, yes, I was.
He's gonna stand up next to the.
By the way, that'll be
chop it
$25.
down. with
$30 for an autograph, yeah.
Yeah, I met Nash. He was awesome. When my son was a little kid, he was actually super cool at Wizard World. But next,
So, all right, so those two are big. We've also got Tessa Blanchard and Britt Baker. Who we were talking offline earlier about the
Britt
previous
Baker,
episode.
who is with Adam
Dr.
Cole,
Britt Baker, yes,
Yep.
with Adam Cole.
son of the recently deceased, rest in peace, Dynamite Kid.
Yeah, and
Or I said son. Did I say son? I
Yes.
screwed up and said son. I'm sorry, daughter.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, Coors Light or Coors Banquet beer. What did you do to me?
And shout out to Adam Cole, who actually surreptitiously was hanging out backstage at Warrior Wrestling 2.
Really?
Yes, to
Nice.
cheer on Britt, and obviously could not appear as part of the
Right.
production in any way, shape, or form. The
She
coolest
comes out
dude.
to his old music, right?
She did for All In.
Yeah.
Coolest dude in the world. If you want to talk about meeting a wrestler who is just a fan and a great human being, can't say enough about that guy.
Nice.
I wish
I always
him all
liked
the best
Adam
in the
Cole.
world. Yep. So Britt and Tessa, we talked earlier too about Tessa is just lightning. First time I saw Tessa Baker or Tessa
Complete
Blanchard
package.
wrestle, it was
Hey, you
shimmer.
fucked up.
I did. Sure did, man.
Hey, I'm
Freudian
glad
slip.
I'm not the only one.
Everybody's drinking the Coors, okay? It's the banquet
At
beer.
least it's not the Kool-Aid.
Rocky Mountain Cold.
Jim Jones.
Tessa Blanchard, I saw her wrestle in Shimmer last year, a
Nice.
year and a half ago. It was in Berwyn, and she was wrestling a tag match, I think, with Britt against another team. And there was a little girl in the audience who was harassing Tessa. And Tessa was on the apron, giving it right back to this little girl. And then Tessa tagged into the match and wrestled while continuing to have an argument with this little girl. And that was a moment where, just as a fan, just a dude sitting there, I went, this is something special, because she absolutely gets all the trappings of what
Psychology,
professional
man.
wrestling is.
Ring psychology. I mean, look who her father, dude, Tully. You couldn't have had a better teacher than one of the original Four Horsemen. Tully was the shit back in the day, dude. He's one of my favorite of the Four Horsemen.
And what he's talking about with her, like, that is one of the reasons why I love Kevin Owens so much still
Yes.
at WWE,
Yeah.
because he still interacts with everyone in
Yeah.
the first 20 friggin' rows like
do you
he's
remember
on an
this
indie
shit
show in a bingo hall.
back in WCW with Hogan and NWO? And there's a lot of gifs and memes about this where the old lady is like talking shit. Dude, he gets out of the ring. He's like, she like goes to smack at him. He's like still talking shit to her. Like that. I love that type of stuff, man.
So the same thing is like the Tessa thing. I saw Owens as Kevin Steen in PWG
Right, I love
in
Kevin Steen,
2009,
dude.
2010.
I love Scum and ROH.
Oh my God. Steen, they were outside of the American Legion Hall. They were doing a WrestleCon show in an airport hotel near LAX. And Steen, some guy's harassing Steen during this match. Steen spends literally the entire match arguing with this fan while wrestling. And my buddy, who was not a wrestling fan, was with me at that show. He just came along, like we talked about earlier, a guy tagging along. And my buddy just kept elbowing me like, this guy's incredible. Yes, he is. And when Steen signed with WWE, I sent my buddy, who'd never seen any wrestling after that, the article. And my buddy was so happy because he loved this guy. It's those great performers that get interacting with an audience, whether we talked earlier, it's stand-up, it's improv, it's jazz, it's punk rock, whatever. If you get how to key into an audience and play back and forth on their fire, it's unbelievable. And I think Tessa has that. Tessa is made of lightning. That girl is incredible.
And she craps Thunder Rock.
Yeah.
And she's super adorable.
Yeah.
I didn't say that at least.
Britt Baker as well obviously holds her own killer wrestler, killer personality, a doctor. She's a dentist on top of it. So that match, those are probably two of the best female wrestlers out in the world right now.
Oh, yeah. And like we were talking about earlier before we recorded, I love Tessa Blanchard's DDT.
Yes.
That is the most amazing fucking finisher I've seen in a long, long time. And you can do all the fancy shit you want. It's not super fancy, but it is so impactful and believable. And just, oh, man, The way she executes it.
The match, our second show had this big crazy match called the War of Attrition. 8 dudes, tons of big names. Ray was in it, whatever. The match that stole the night
Ray
for most
who?
people, Ray Mysterio, King of Mystery. Tessa versus Jordan Grace.
Yep.
They
Jordan Grace
beat
is awesome.
the snot out of each other. Ended in a DQ brawl. The place was chanting, "Let them fight," as they were getting dragged to the back. You talk about impactful moves that look real, that look like, oh my God, the two of them are fantastic. And they're both, Tessa's got Britt, Jordan's got Kylie Ray.
Oh, yeah.
I would not.
Kylie Ray's awesome, too.
Oh my God. She's just quick and crisp and amazing, and Jordan's just a powerhouse.
Yep.
I would not be surprised to see Tessa and Jordan again down the line for us because it was such a killer match at 2.
I like that. I like it a lot.
So we got all those on the card. Another huge match headline anywhere. 2 former ROH champs, 2 former Impact champs.
Oh, this is
Eddie
good.
Edwards,
Yes.
Austin Aries.
Oh, well, I couldn't. I saw Austin Aries on there. I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
Yep.
Because he's drawing a lot of heat from
Yes, he is.
But is he working you or not? You know, like.
I have no idea, and I'm not asking, but I know he's great to work with for us.
He was the belt collector at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know he's the belt desirer, if that's a word. But yeah, that Eddie Edwards, and I love what he's doing right now in Impact. Like he's killing that fucking gimmick.
Yep.
And the whole story they're telling with Moose, who is another guy who was on your show, and they're just killing that as well. Austin Aries, I've seen him perform live with TNA. When we did episode 36 about the Great Muta, I think Austin Aries took a lot of his mannerisms from Muta, dude.
Huh.
Yeah, you realize how he moves in the ring? That's Muta, dude.
I've never thought of that. That's totally accurate.
That is correct. But yeah, super excited to see that. And then I would hope Eddie's got. Doesn't he call his stick Kenny, the kendo stick? I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have
Drop
to
a
talk to
little
him and see
knowledge
if it's going to make its way in the bag, or we're going to have to procure some in the Chicago area. But
Procure?
I mean, it's in his promo picture here.
I know. I guess we got to deliver.
That's going to be a great match.
That's gonna be
those
a
guys
fight.
can go.
Yeah. Yep. So we've also got this crazy 6-man Lucha Rules tag match. Sam Adonis, who is the epitome of great heel. Just every old school heat generating thing you can think of. Sam Adonis, Titan, and Super Crazy.
Oh, dude, if Ed was here, he'd be marking out, EC dub, EC dub, EC dub. Oh, man, I fucking love Super Crazy.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
But it makes it even better. Who is the other team?
Pat
Oh, yeah.
Monix, who's a local fantastic babyface.
There you go.
Good.
There you go.
Just straight up white meat babyface, all you can imagine. And his partners are Daga, who's
Daga's
an
the shit.
incredible
This guy's
wrestler.
ear ripped off. Wasn't that?
Low key.
Yeah. MLW, right?
I believe
Yes.
so.
And Ultimo Dragon.
Ultimo Dragon. Fuck yeah,
You
dude.
want to talk about one of the
WCW.
original belt collectors, man?
Oh,
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
picture with him with all the
You know what? I'm just off topic for a split second.
Yeah.
I stand and tell you, I believe that Sonny was his manager's name was Sonny, right?
Sonny Ono.
Sonny
Sonny
Ono,
Ono.
I think, was the creator of the selfie. He had like one of the original digital cameras out with him at WCW, posing and taking
he
pictures with him
did.
constantly.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Dude, I loved it. Hey, Ultimo Dragon, you guys go out there and bust out those 64s and play WCW
Versus
NWO
NWO.
Revenge, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, we'll be doing another tournament. That's for sure going to be the second one.
Just dug up my 64 because I moved a year ago and I was still not done unpacking. I just found my 64.
Hey,
and
I'm
don't
gonna
have that
kick
game.
your
I gotta
ass.
Pick it up sometime.
I'm going to kick your ass in that
This
game.
matchup alone is just amazing. Just like I love Daga for all.
Yeah.
Like just watching him like on Lucha. I didn't start Lucha until after the third season was about to start broadcasting, but
It's great.
he's fantastic, super crazy, like you talked about. Just going back, like I've
Fuck
not
the
seen
Mexicools,
Titan at
though. We ain't talking about the Mexicools. We're talking about EC Dub.
all. But Adonis and Pat Monix, like I'm happy to see Pat on there.
Yes.
like that's
Nice.
fantastic.
Yep. Pat is just the epitome of a babyface.
Yep.
And at our second show, Adonis came out for a promo after Pat's match with DJZ, beat the snot out of Pat, and tossed him out, cut his promo, went and did his match. Pat came back later, attacked Adonis, so there's a bit of a brewing thing there. And
There you go.
in this match, you've got each of them on one side. You've got a legend on each side, Crazy and Dragon, and then two guys that you just go. Titan and Daga are going to tear it up. So
Nice.
Very excited.
Yeah, Ultimo Dragon. That was. Oh man. I
pumped.
can't believe it, dude. It's like I've never seen him wrestle, dude. I've always loved Ultimo Dragon, dude.
There you go. There's
He
your
can
chance
move,
now.
man.
For all you old Nitro fans out there, you're gonna want to see that.
Yes. Andrew Everett versus Rich Swann.
Nice,
Who are
dude.
both
Good
just
matchup.
crisp,
Yeah,
fast,
super amazing.
cool. They had one match a couple years ago in PWG. It was excellent, and now they're both years better at what they're doing. So that, Rich was on our last show, and he was excellent. Moose and Ethan Page. We were talking a little Ethan Page earlier. One thing people don't realize about Page is a big dude.
He's a
Yeah,
big
he
boy.
is.
He is
He's
a
a
big boy.
big dude. You meet him in person, he's built like a lineman.
I got that shirt right now.
I think the
Represent.
first time I saw him was at AAW, and I saw him in the ring, and I'm like, he's. I'm trying to decide, like, is he taller than I think he is?
Yes.
Because sometimes when you're sitting down,
Yeah,
in some of the
he
rings,
is. He's got the length.
Yeah, but then I saw
and
him
the
and
girth.
talked to him I talked to him very briefly after the show. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was at first. It's like, sometimes it's a little deceptive when you're sitting in the crowd, but yeah, Moose is just another gigantic of a human.
And I love the transition. Moose has been one of my personal favorite like NFL transitions.
Yes.
I think he's adapted really well to pro wrestling. And I love, like, in Impact, like, the outfits he's been wearing and shit. Dude, he's got, like, that super white fucking Bruce Lee
good.
Kung Fu outfit on and, like, just ridiculous over-the-top shit. Looking like he should be in, like, Parliament Funk or something like that, I love it. I love everything Moose is doing. I think he's on fire. That was a great addition for Impact and a super great addition for your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes it's going to be a hoss match.
Oh, yeah.
Just two big dudes who are also charismatic.
Yep.
They've got a lot of good spots to get the audience involved. Everybody loves chanting for Moose. Page is a great heel.
Even though he's a heel, though. I mean, he's a heel currently in Impact.
He'll
but
get over like a face at our show. I guarantee it.
Moose.
Guarantee it.
It works.
Hey man, Cody said there's no such thing as heels and faces anymore, just wrestlers, and it just matters how the crowd interacts.
To me, Razor Ramon and Stone Cold ruined. They ruined it. They ruined it. You ruined it, damn it. You ruined it.
Oh man.
Next.
Last big one. So we got 9 matches on the show. The last one is with our buddies from Freelance Wrestling. We're calling it the Free for All match. So basically, it's like the Royal Rumble meets the Elimination Chamber. 12 dudes, 2 start in the ring. Every 2 minutes, another guy comes in. You're eliminated by pinfall or submission. So
Some of
it's
my
just
favorites
going to
in this
be an
match.
absolute.
One of them being Brian Pillman, Jr. I
Jr..
cannot wait to see that dude and talk to him. I was a huge, I cannot over-exaggerate, huge fan of his father. And I loved all the work that he's done that I've seen. Mm-hmm. He does a lot. I love the New Heart Foundation and MLW.
Yep.
They have struck gold with that. That's fucking amazing. It's going to be so awesome to see him and just... Yeah, I love Brian Pillman.
Yeah, shout out to Black Label Pro. That's the first place I saw him live. And I'm always obviously going to shows to enjoy him, but I've always got my eye towards who can really go, who's special. And like I mentioned earlier with Tessa, there's something about Pillman, the way he sells, the way he struts in the ring, the way he interacts with the crowd. This guy gets star.
Oh, yeah.
He's only a year and a half in the business, 2 years in the business,
right?
But he gets whatever it is, and I think
it's in his blood, man.
Yeah.
As long as you don't pull those guns out on Stone Cold. He's like Austin 316, meet Mr. 45. That was ridiculous. Oh, Brian Pillman Jr., another great dude that I interact with on social media. Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. But who else is involved in that match?
Whole bunch of guys. So we got the Ego Robert Anthony, so our second Ego on the show, who's longtime Chicago.
Lego my ego.
There you go. Isaiah Velasquez, Matt Nix, a guy named Wardlow, who's a huge dude. He was on WWE's Undercover Boss episode, and actually is kind of in an interesting relationship with WWE, but he's working indies around the country. Yeah. Came highly recommended by DJ Z. Big dude, can move, can wrestle. So Space Monkey.
Space Monkey is the shit, dude.
Yes.
The Space Pirates, right? The tag team. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I saw him at Black Label Pro. He did the spot with his tail. It was super awesome. And he lives the gimmick.
Yes.
That's awesome. He is super cool.
I saw him on Chikara maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'd heard of him, and I went to go see the Chikara show. I'm like, really? Space Monkey. And 2 minutes into the match, I was like, never mind. I take it all back.
Space
Perfect.
Monkey!
Perfect. So him, Shane Saber, Mark Wheeler's going to be in the match as well. Isaiah Velasquez, just Kobe Durst, a lot of those guys.
Kobe
from
Durst,
Alpha One.
another great guy. He's currently, I think he's the Indiana State champion for Black Label Pro.
Yes,
Yep. And they're all just awesome workers, great dudes, great human beings. And so that match is going to tear it up because you get a lot of those guys from Freelancer Alpha 1 who've known each other for forever, and you put them in the ring together. It's going to be awesome.
I'm going to be fucking exhausted after this event, dude. It's just going to
be a lot.
Oh man, I can't wait. Are you going to go to this or what?
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
I just started making a list of the people that are. I'm not even going to ask permission to take with me. Like other
drag
people
them.
Dragging along.
Yeah.
It's
younger, some younger people to get them in.
Good.
Infected with the wrestling bug.
That's right.
Have a little wrestling, kids.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's
Stop
doing
anytime
it.
you
First
want.
taste is free. You'll get friends on social media.
All right, enough of that.
And I creep. Yeah, we keep it on the down low.
I wish you guys all three didn't sing that.
That was great. That was
a
perfect.
moment.
That was.
Yeah.
Not for me.
That was in-ring psychology 101.
Yeah, no, but we're absolutely pumped for the show. Our goal is generally we're going to do 3 shows a year. So we do spring, winter, and a fall. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it as absolutely big as we possibly can.
It's fucking huge, man. I'm super pissed that I wasn't aware of any previous things. I kind of think
poorly.
it was. No, I also got into the game a little later, I guess. But I'm super pumped for the show. And just real quick, I want to kind of go because we were talking on the phone a couple days ago. I wanted to get into your background just a little bit here. You were telling me you were actually trained by Joey. King of Dong Style.
King of Dong Style was my teacher.
Joey Ryan.
Yes.
That's fucking awesome.
Yes, he was.
So, what day did you learn the U-pornplex?
This was
Like 2 weeks
The day he went to the tool shed.
He hadn't shared that with the world yet. He just taught us headlocks and rolls and
Can't teach
What kind of headlock?
well, actually, it's another great name for that move.
Right. That is.
Yeah. No, I trained. So I lived in California. So real quick bio. So
Yeah.
big fan in the 80s. Hulkamania, everything.
Fuck
Got out of
yeah.
it in the early 90s when everybody else kind of did. My buddies dragged me back into it in the late 90s. Literally, I used to make fun of my buddies who were wrestling fans. Like, that's so stupid. How can you watch it? Whatever.
Steve, I never got out of it. I'm a fucking dork.
Why I don't know. I was the jerk that thought I was too good for it. So I got dragged back in with my buddies who were just, I was merciless to them. And we were like, 7th grade. We were camping in my one buddy's backyard. I was making fun of everybody in the tent for wrestling. And they're like, all right,
dorks.
we're going inside and we're showing you the videotape of this pay-per-view from last week. I was like, all right, whatever. And we sat down and watched King of the Ring 98, which was Hell in a Cell, Mick Foley and Undertaker, Steve Austin and Kane. And this was like 4 days after it happened. And I watched it like it came on the screen and my jaw was on the floor and I was wide-eyed. And it was like the moment in the Blues Brothers when God speaks to them in the gospel church where you're like, this... I have seen God.
Right.
And so I was just 100% in after that. Became the craziest wrestling fan in the world. Went to college, wrote my honors thesis on wrestling, applied for a job with WWE, got kind of really long in the process for creative with WWE, ended up not getting that job, moved to California, started going to PWG before it was a thing, which is the most hipstery thing I'll ever say.
Right.
Trained at Mach 1 in Anaheim with Joey Ryan and Johnny
Nice.
Goodtime and a bunch of guys.
Yep.
Came back to the area, just started hitting up indie shows like crazy, going to everything. And so then eventually down the line was like, you know what? I for years I had run sketch and improv comedy groups and all these different things on the side, and I hadn't had a creative project for years. And the bug had been with me for forever of I need to start a wrestling organization, need to start it. So I was going to start it separately, but one of my best friends, Eric, my right-hand man, is like, you got to do it at the school. He's like, you don't care about making money off this, do you? I was like, no, not at all. He's like, do it at the school. And then there's all of these things that kind of flow into we've got the venue, you've got the security, you've got the locker rooms, you've got the insurance, you've got all these things. And then every dime you make goes back to the school. So we started it last year in May. The show in May made a couple grand, not a ton, but we made money. The show in September, now with all of the sales online from High Spots and the residuals and what. And
You guys
things,
are on High Spots.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said
the
that.
second show made like 16 grand for scholarships for kids.
Nice.
So
That's fucking great.
so it's a great wrestling show. It helps kids go to our school. A lot of times people go like, oh, you're a private school, everybody's rich. No, dude, 75% of the kids at our school are here only on financial aid. And so they can only be here because we have a golf outing and a gala and whatever. And the wrestling show is one more thing that helps a kid get a really
Secure
good education.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very blessed in that we had, the support of
about
the
them
people in the
blessings.
school. And so anyway, long story short, that's what kind of drew me through all this. Very lucky to do it. And just, we're happy to keep it going, man.
Steve, you're the fucking shit, man.
I try real hard.
God damn it.
Yeah.
He's told me this story, and like it's great, man. When we were talking on the phone earlier in the week, I was just amazed at your story, and I dig it, man. It's a good cause. It's you're super into it, and I can't fucking say enough good things. I'm like speechless. Like it's what you're putting on and having it in like such a local area, and it's not like a WWE thing. Like what you have booked is it's fucking pay-per-view. I mean, it will be on High Spots, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And High Spots is highspots.com or
it's highspots.com or highspotswrestlingnetwork.com.
right.
They both go there.
But they do a lot of things. I know the Elite does a lot of things with High Spots.
Yep.
So that's super cool, man.
Yeah, we're very pumped, very blessed, and I love wrestling. I've loved wrestling since I was a little kid, and then again since that moment when I saw God through Mick Foley's tooth in his nose. And for me, now,
By God!
he's broken in half. With God as my witness.
By God, pinata!
So, I love the fact that we can do it. I love the fact that we can do something that I love that also gets to help the kids in my day job and my mission. You know what I mean? So
and that's the shit. And what is your day job?
So I'm the principal of Marian Catholic, and I also teach.
Really?
Yes.
Matt Stryker?
No, not quite. Matt Stryker, your teacher.
Yeah. Yeah,
no. So I was a teacher for several years and became principal at Marian in 2014. This is my 5th year as principal.
Nice.
And it's a weird. I'm an eclectic mess and a mix of many things, man. But Catholic education and professional wrestling are two of the things that I absolutely love. And you might not think those two go hand in hand. You go all across the country. There's Knights of Columbus halls, Catholic churches, Catholic schools hosting wrestling. And once people get out of their head that wrestling must be Attitude Era WWF, that wrestling must be sable, nude, and blood and whatever. No, wrestling can be 2 luchadors, a guy from Spain and Matt Seidel, tearing it up in an
competition,
incredible...
man.
It can be
like early WCW. That's why I got into it. It was... They weren't as much of the smoke show that WWE was. Like the characters, they had the smoky, like, because remember WCW's programming always had like that, like kind of dusky
a haze
southern.
to it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Venues.
Yeah. By God, give me a Budweiser and a Camel Joe. But I love that shit. But it was more. I got into that because as I was getting a little bit older and like more into like wrestling.
Yep.
It was like, all right, okay. I still love Hulk Hogan and all that shit, but like, some of this shit's just a little weird. But these guys, like, they're really going at it and like beating the fuck out of each other. Like it's believable.
Yes.
The main thing with wrestling, the one word that is associated with professional wrestling the most is believe. Believe.
Yep.
Believe.
Yep.
Not believe, but believe. And the way things are going nowadays, there's a lot of believing going on, man.
Yes.
It's straight up, and everybody knows what wrestling is. We don't sit in here, but everybody knows what it is. And the way it is presented nowadays, even with the what I like to call the new era of promoting, like how Lucha Underground does their stuff, how Impact is kind of taken from that, and the Hardys have taken, and all that stuff. Which, by the way, Lucha is, I think, the pioneer. Robert Rodriguez and his Rod Carew, Hall of Famer Rod Carew.
O.J. Simpson, not a Jew.
Oh, that's great. I love
the Hanukkah song?
Yeah.
You know who is Hall of Famer Rod Carew?
Hey, we like to give the Adam Sandler blessings on this.
Bruce Springsteen isn't Jewish, but my mother thinks he is.
I love it. I totally just lost what the fuck I was going to say.
You're talking about believability. I think that's why New Japan is so popular right now.
Strong style is the
I have
new
showed
thing.
friends like Kota Ibushi matches. I've
man,
showed them
man.
Kenny Omega. I've showed them Okada.
Yep.
They can't watch WWE on Monday because it's just so choreographed and so clunky. You watch Okada hit somebody and you go, damn.
Yeah.
That guy just hit that other guy.
Yeah. It's believability. That's wrestling is sold on beliefs, and from day one it has been.
Yep.
And even since the industry was exposed, it is getting more back to. And here's the perfect example: WWE just signed a deal with Fox Sports, right? And they're going to be doing the SmackDown Live on Fridays, which is kind of conflicting with me. Like, why is Impact going and they're going on Friday
Fridays as
nights,
well,
and I'm
yeah.
like, I don't get that. But anyways, that's another story, another time, another astral plane. Fox Sports wants them to present their product as a more athletic
Yep.
experience.
Yep.
You know, no, cut the fucking New Day throwing pancakes out, which may have been funny for 5 seconds. I got over it real quick.
Yep.
And they want more athletic competition, much like you're seeing with Ring of Honor, New Japan, and even Impact now.
Yes.
But all those promotions that I just mentioned do a supreme job of blending everything
Yes.
in to give you the complete package that WWE has been lacking for. I couldn't even tell you.
And that's why when they go to Fox in the fall of 19, they absolutely have to have Triple H book SmackDown because NXT has
to.
NXT
NXT's good.
feels
NXT
like an old
is
school
good.
athletic wrestling promotion. If Triple H's vision is on the Fox SmackDown, it'll be exactly what Fox wants.
Yeah.
If they give Fox Vince McMahon goofy bullshit, Fox will not be happy and it will not do well.
He's kind of made jokes too. Did you see when he came out on Raw and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what obviously I don't know what you guys want anymore," or anything. It's kind of like he's talking shit, but it's true. You know,
Yes,
you
yeah.
don't like Triple H. Everybody for a long time is like, what's going to happen when Vince McMahon either passes away or steps down? WWE will be in better hands,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes,
because
creatively.
then maybe the whole product, SmackDown and Raw, will become like NXT.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing for business. That's my opinion, baby. Hey, so Steve, where can everybody find you on social media?
Yep. So we're Warrior Wrestling on Twitter. Second word, no vowels. So WRSTLNG.
No, RSTLNE, Vanna?
I know, right? Yeah. 4 consonants and a vowel.
Yeah.
So Warrior Wrestling, no vowels in the second word. Facebook, Warrior Wrestling as well. We've got Instagram, same thing, Warrior Wrestling, no vowels. The website's warriorwrestling.net. And that's where we've got the tickets, got the card, got some really cool stories. Our buddy Kyle Symes does a write-up for every main event, and he's got a really cool profile of Cage and Bandito up there. We've got archives and links to the old shows that you can watch on High Spots. Check us out, and check out the show on January 5th. Again, if you're anywhere within driving distance, or even if you're not, this is the kind of show that you'd fly to LA to see at PWG. Well, we brought it to the Midwest.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's all for a good cause. So if you like wrestling, you want to help some kids out, you can't go wrong. Cheapest ticket, bleacher seats are $30. So I mean, you're not getting, it's not exorbitant prices.
Yeah, you're
Front
not
row's
getting
a little
bent
more
over.
expensive. Yeah, but I mean, every dime goes to the kids. Beer sales, pizza sales.
Oh, there will be beer?
Oh, yeah.
Next movie, there will be beer.
You are not familiar with Catholic school fundraisers, my friend. There will be beer. We get a lot of great local breweries to donate. And that's the other thing that's really cool being a fundraiser is a lot of people say, here, take a keg of beer. Flossmoor Brewery's good. One Trick Pony in Lansing always takes care of us. Blue
awesome.
Island Brewery, Revolution. is taking care-
Revolution?
You can't
go
I
wrong
love
with any of
Revolution
those,
IPA, man.
Yep,
It's great.
they've all donated beer. You know, 350
Nice.
in Tinley is an excellent company. And really,
Man.
we just told them what the show is. They're like, great, here, take a keg. You know, don't even
Nice.
want a tax letter. Good people.
I'll be there. Don't you know, Stevie? Yeah.
I'll be there.
Oh. So, hey, did you guys have fun tonight?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This was a blast.
Absolutely. To quote Tim and Eric. You a big Tim and Eric fan?
I've watched a little bit of it.
need
And
to
I've
watch a
liked what
lot
I've,
of it.
I know. I've got to catch up on some good things.
I have a hard time catching up on anything on Adult Swim these days, man. With
Oh,
them constantly canceling Aqua Teen and bringing it back.
Yeah. Do they bring it back again?
I'll tell
Back
you
in
what, bro,
2004, I was an
I don't know
Aqua Teen
what's going
junkie.
on right now. You know, I'm just sitting there, just trying to mind my own business.
I'm going to one up you on that one. Check
My
it out,
favorite
Drex.
Christmas album, by the way.
Hell yeah, I'm going to do the right boy.
Have you ever listened to Have Yourself a Meaty Little Christmas?
Yeah.
It's hands down my
It's
favorite Christmas
awesome.
album.
I also went and saw the movie in the theater,
We're gonna
and
go
it was
with
the worst.
Navi Wad. The chicken quesadilla with the mild sauce.
MeatWad in the studios on that JP
yeah.
Dub tip.
This is amazing. I've walked into like a dream I wake up from at 2 a.m. What's going on? MeatWad is talking to The Rock. What is happening?
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better take somebody. Oh, you didn't know? You can call the Juice Pro Wrestling hotline at 1-872-267-4199 if you'd like it a little sexier. That's
1-872-267-4199.
call. Don't delay. And you can also find us on Twitter at JPW Podcast, on Instagram at Juice Pro Wrestling, and on Facebook at Juice Pro Wrestling. You can also join the JP Woo. The JP Woo, what is that? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the Juice Pro Wrestling universe, you bastard. Join. Talk about anything that's pro wrestling related. Your experiences, your passions, your loves, your desires. And sometimes we wear stretchy pants. It's just for fun. Any of that shit, we welcome it all. Everybody, join in on the conversation. I want to hear what you got, because you already heard what I got, and you all know it's girthy as fuck. Steve, thanks for coming out on the show, man. You know,
Smooth transition there. Thank you.
Hey, because I'm a smooth criminal.
Yeah.
Ow! Don't tell me to wrap it up. Oh, man. Steve, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank
Warrior
you for having
Wrestling
me.
is the shit. I cannot wait to attend the show. And hopefully, you know, we're going to mob up there deep. We're going to mob up real strong, real hard, real swift. You thought I was coming with something different, and I changed it up like Roddy Piper.
Change the questions.
Yeah, that's right. I got all the answers. Not. Yeah, Steve, thanks for coming on. We're
Thank
going to
you
have
guys
you
for
on
having me.
again, man. We'll do some more stuff with you, because you got a good mind, and I want to get more into your backstory
Sure.
with professional wrestling. So if you don't mind, please come again.
Will there be Coors Golden Banquet beer?
Oh, well, there'll probably be 3 Floyds next time.
Oh, well.
So,
All
you know,
right, then.
that just, you know, a little cheap right now. It's the holidays. I'm in the holidays, and so is my fucking wallet. Drex, it was great having you back on the show,
Thanks for
brother.
having me back on, guys.
Yeah. And Stratton, go fuck yourself. Wad 'em up. Wad 'em up. Wad 'em up. Wad 'em up. You gonna do sex to me?